welcome to episode 3 on our online facilitation for ISL271. Today we are going to look at the ascension to the throne of Umar ibn Khattab as the third Caliph and his achievements as the Khalifa and all other things he did when he was the Khalifa for the Muslim Ummah. So this is what we want to look at today in this facilitation series. This is the third session. So and I hope you will enjoy it. My name is Professor Mustafa Adejora. Let's continue. In our last lesson, we discussed about Abu Bakr Siddiq as he became the Khalifa through the Shura. And again, his achievements as the Khalifa was also mentioned. And I told you about how he nominated Umar ibn Khattab to the Shura, and how the name of Umar was ratified and accepted generally as the next successor after Abu Bakr. You will remember that Abu Bakr spent only 2 years on the throne. He assumed the position the year Prophet Muhammad died, which is 632, and he spent only 2 years and died 634 Christian era. So when he was about to die, Abu Bakr had to contact the Shura, who were there to decide on the affairs that concern the Muslim Ummah generally. So during his sickbed, Abu Bakr Siddiq called a meeting of the Shura and he nominated Umar ibn Khattab that he should be his successor. And they all agree with him. So that was how Umar became the Khalifa. And today, we want to continue from there. So at the end of today's lesson, you should be able to explain the event that characterized the election of Umar, as we said. So that will be a sort of revision of what we have done in the past. Then, again, we should also look at the life of Umar as the spiritual head of state. How did he perform as the spiritual head of the Muslim state? Then we will also look at some of the efforts he made in fighting against infidels and the enemies of Islam. And as a result of that, we will look at his achievements and how he was assassinated. During the terminal illness of Abu Bakr, as we said, he suggested the name of Umar, having consulted the Shura. So, and it was there they agreed to the nomination of Umar. Then, having breathed his last, he has secured the acceptance of Umar to succeed him. That is, Abu Bakr has secured the acceptance of Umar by the Shura. So they all agree with him and they accepted his nomination. So we have some people that were part of the Shura. We have Usman there, we have Ali, we have Talhat, we have so many. that form the higher caliber people among the Muslim Ummah then. Usman, Abu Bakr also commanded Usman in the mosque to read the nomination, the agreement where they agreed to appoint Umar. So he asked Usman to read it to the generality, to the hearing of the people. So, and that was done in 634 Christian era. So, the only difference between the appointment of Abu Bakr as the Khalifa and that of Umar was that there were crises immediately after the death of Prophet Muhammad, and that there was no arrangement made to appoint a successor. So that led to a vacuum being created after the death of Prophet Muhammad. So, but to avoid similar occurrence, so Abu Bakr now nominated to the Shura the name of Umar ibn Khattab, and Umar was generally accepted democratically by the Shura. So, immediately he assumed office as the Khalifa. Umar followed the ways of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and those of the other companions, especially Abu Bakr that preceded him. So he followed their ways, he followed their pattern, so that he would not deviate from the teachings they have bequeathed for them. It was as a result of his strict adherence to the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad that helped him to conquer his enemies and the enemies of Islam, especially the Persia Empire and the Byzantine Empire. So they were two great empires that were ruling during that time, and they were rivals to the Muslim state. So Umar was able to subdue them. So his caliphate was marked the golden age of Islam. So during his time, we started noticing tremendous achievements in the house of Islam. Now, Umar ibn Khattab, apart from being one of the pioneers of Islamic principles, he was also a pioneer of Islamic civilization, because all those great things occurred during his time. It was during his time that he introduced Islamic coin with the inscription La ilaha illallah and other things like that. So Umar greatly achieved during his time, and that was why we refer to his period as the beginning of the golden age of Islam. So he performed a state based on the Islamic political system. So he didn't practice autocracy, but he consulted the Ummah in taking any decision. So, and what he put down was adopted even by the West, that is the Western world, which they now transformed or developed to form what is called democracy today. So Umar was one of the greatest democratic administrators, whose example was unparalleled in the history of Islam. So he remained an exemplary leader. There was a situation whereby he went out in the night to listen to complaints of the poor people concerning the way he ruled. So when he had any complaint in the day, he would go there to supply them or to attend to their complaints. So that was how Umar served as the Khalifa. So during the time of Umar also, the great warrior that we discussed about in the past, Khalid ibn Walid, had conquered Persian Empire under the watch of Abu Bakr. So he also conquered so many other kingdoms under Umar. So there was a war at Namarik, so which is called the War of Namarik. It was there the Muslim army under the leadership of Umar conquered the Persian army. So it continued like that until November 3, 644, after having spent 10 years when Umar fell sick and died. He was killed as a result of the injury he suffered from the hand of one Christian Persian slave called Abululu Fairuzi. He brought a case, he brought a complaint to Umar, but to him, Umar did not attend to him seriously as he expected. So he was the one that inflicted injury on Umar, which led to his death in 644 Christian era. So that was how far Umar decided or ruled as the Khalifa, and he was a pious leader, and he led some other prominent Khalifas such as Ali ibn Talib, Usman, Affan, and Ubaidullah, and so on and so forth. So we will continue from there in our next lesson, God willing. Thank you.